Daryl and Rosita arrange a little face-to-face with Eugene. Dwight tries to give Rick one final heads up, and Simon decides it's time for the Saviors to have an official change of leadership. But if you want to be the man, you gotta beat the man. Negan is cleaning house on this week's The Walking Dead, Season 8, Episode 15. Worth. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Walking Dead. So yes, spoilers are abound. Alright, decent episode. Some up, some down, I think. Part of me feels that one of the problems with Walking Dead is I think they're occasionally trying to do too much. I think they try to squeeze in more in an episode than really works, and we get some great moments, but we get some moments that are just blah. And kind of what we had, I think, with this episode. But before we start officially, I do want to take one brief pause and announce I am officially over 1,000 subscribers today! So, thank you, all of you, for signing up, for watching the show, for subscribing, telling your friends, all of that. Basically means now I can start monetizing these videos. So, that probably means you're watching a commercial right now. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's dive right into things. I'm going to start off this week talking about Eugene. Why? Garlic sardine mac and cheese is the nastiest thing I have ever heard of. Just, I want to get that out of the way as quickly as I can. It looked nasty. It sounded nasty. From the reaction of all the girls, they certainly didn't like it. And the fact that that seems to be the only meal that Eugene is going to be serving his people until the job is done, not really sure if that's motivating. I don't know if they're going to buckle down and eat that or decide to just eat a bullet and be done with it. Anyway, Eugene's whole section this week, I don't know, kind of a waste in some ways. I mean, there was some story development going on. I mean, we do get to see Eugene kind of being in charge and accepting his role as we got. We got to see Father Gabriel breaking down in just a puddle of pathetic sadness, really. I mean, the one thing that Gabriel did hit with his little speech there is he just that same guy that locked his church group out of the church, his congregation out of the church. And yeah, it does sort of seem that way. And he doesn't even seem to be able to sabotage well. Eugene picked that out pretty quick, that primer sticking out in the back there. So, look, I appreciate that Father Gabriel is trying to sabotage things in some manner. Seems to be why that he is there. But he's not really embracing this role. He's just kind of just devolving into this pathetic, like I said, just cowardice puddle. It's just whining and crying, and I mean, Eugene's like, fine, go over there, cry quietly. It's bad for morale. So that's sort of the setup that we get. And of course that ends quickly as Daryl and Rosita quickly establish the guards outside and grab Eugene to bring him back. So we do get a little back, a little face-to-face, little Rosita-Eugene meeting things back up. Went pretty much as well as we could expect. Eugene trying to play a survival card, Rosita having none of it. You are a coward. You're weak, you're a coward, you're a traitor, and we're going to stick you in a hole and just take everything out of your brain that we can. You will live, but only to serve us. That does not go over well with Eugene. I mean, we understand again a lot of the anger here. This is exactly the way things I would expect him to go. However, after that interesting little dialogue, everything went right downhill. The fact that they had to walk so far to get back to their vehicle, that they didn't seem to be really prepared for it. Eugene's whole escape there, I mean, okay, tossing the garlic sardine, pasta stuff, mac and cheese, thank you, garlic pasta, mac and cheese, all over Rosita. That was nasty. Not entirely sure why I did that. It's just sort of a distraction. The walkers would have worked well. But let's be honest. He had no time to dig himself underneath that pile of ash right there. Not to get himself fully covered. Rosita shouldn't have been that more than a couple of seconds behind him. And really, that quick, you could see he went under and through that little wall, and then when it panned back and we saw Daryl and Rosita, they were just coming through that same little cutout. So this is right on the other side of the wall. I appreciate that Rosita was just totally willing to kill him if he's getting away. You know, that's awesome. But, Eugene, no, I don't believe that. That angered me a lot. That totally pulled me out of it. He should have had no way to completely hide under there. Now without like a leg, maybe his head was covered, but a leg would have been sticking out of that ash and so on. It's just, look, I do a lot of hide and seek with my kid. Trust me, it's very hard to get everything hidden underneath something very quickly. So that really threw me out of it. Now, Eugene coming back afterwards and with his whole angry face, okay, I get that. He is now dedicated. We're not going to try and mess around. We're not going to try and do the bare minimum. We're going all the way. It's all hands on deck. Even pulls Father Gabriel back out. So that personality change with Eugene, I mean, that was kind of interesting. It makes him a little bit more hardcore, a little more badass Eugene. As long as he's in charge and is not physically threatened. Any physical threat, he caves immediately, as we saw. But it made that whole sequence to me kind of a waste. I don't believe that Daryl as a tracker would have lost Eugene that quickly. I don't believe that Eugene would have been able to hide as quickly underneath all of that. No. And while we're talking about things that aren't working, Aaron and his Oceanside Adventures. Didn't really like how we saw the Oceanside Adventures establishing a few episodes ago, where he and Enid met up with them after Enid's stupid shooting of the grandma. Just, again, annoying. But to me, this was just, I don't know what was going on with Aaron. Aaron has completely fallen apart. Remember, he was the scout. He was out surviving and following people quietly and, you know, determining all this stuff. He has skills. And here he's starving. He's got no food. His shelter's for crap. I don't know why he just jumped out and took out that walker in front of the girls. It's just, that seemed almost like some male I'm gonna save the girls move as opposed to anything that was actually helpful. And so when he did, the rain was finally coming down and he's freezing because he's not covered up because, again, suddenly he's an idiot. Yeah, he needs the water, but he shouldn't have gotten himself in that position. The walkers come and he drops and loses his knife. The whole scene, all I was waiting for was him to be saved by the girls, by the Oceanside survivors. So when he passes out and then wakes up and they're all around him, I was like, well, that took long enough. Expect you guys to be here 5 minutes ago. Good speech. I'll give him that. Talking about, you know, we didn't do it. Grandma dying didn't do it. This is what the saviors did. They've put you in this position. They've made you lose all hope. They're the reason why you don't engage in the world. There's only one thing you can do is fight. Yes, that's a completely legitimate speech. Why they would listen to a guy who's kind of passed out and sick and probably gonna get pneumonia or something, turn into Walker himself, I don't know. He wasn't really in a position to do it. So it's just, I love Ross Marquand. I'm fine with Aaron trying to get Oceanside, but the whole way that happened, again, it was dumb. Aaron should be much smarter and much more capable than what was demonstrated here. And this just seemed kind of some rushed way to get Oceanside possibly on Hilltop side and everybody coming together. But just could have been handled much more deftly. Now, as for the things that worked this episode, was pretty much everything with Negan. and they're at the Saviors. Just marvelously done. This was Negan doing a perfect bait and switch throughout the entire episode. Really working his charisma, his intimidation to complete effect to manipulate everyone around him. His first meeting with Dwight there, and that whistle. Every time I hear that whistle, man, I'm gonna be freaking out. It's just, yeah, that's it. That's gonna put the hairs rising on the back of my neck constantly. But yeah, his first little moment there with Dwight, and a little face to face. You're nervous, but it seems okay. But it doesn't. I mean, even the whole point where he asked Dwight to put out his cigarette, right there. But you put that cigarette right there. But you remember who you are right at this moment. Setting everything up from this very moment here of what's to come. And that leads us to our Scene of the Week for this week. And it's not the big fight at the end. It's not even the big reveal of knowing Dwight's betrayal. It's that first scene with Simon and Dwight and the rest of the group. That little meeting where everything that happens afterwards gets set up. And the tone is set perfectly because we have Simon apologetic. I'm gonna own this. It is my fault. I have a complete lack of discipline, and this is what pushed me to change, the Saviors from infection to elimination. I always love Simon's use of words, man. The guy's got verbal skills. And the whole time, Negan's just polishing up Lucille, just oiling it up, looking good, swinging it around, feeling the weight on it, just being present, being Negan, that being intimidating enough. Really set the scene up perfectly. And as apologetic as Simon gets, and we have Negan throwing it back, a little insight into the past of Simon. Apparently, he was the one that helped Negan take over the Saviors, the sanctuary there. Established Negan there. He was his first right-hand man, but a little psycho. Apparently there are some stories that were going around there that maybe Simon wasn't the best person to have around. Makes perfect sense with what we have seen Simon doing. So this little insight, little background was fun. And then as he walks around and he just has Simon get on his knees. Again, quiet and all tight right there on Simon's face. I mean, there's some serious hardcore acting going right there. Nothing can be hidden. Everything is right in front of the camera. He gets right down on his knees. And thinking, you can see it on the face, he's a little upset. And I'm thinking, is he going to try some moves? Is he going to swing back behind him? Is he going to do some whatever? And then Negan just throws it right out there. You going to make a move, or is that it? Apparently no move to make. Thinking that this is going to be the moment. The tension on that was perfect. And then, nah, you're forgiven. It's all right. Just releases it. Gives him that false hope. Because you know that he already knows what's gone. He knows what happens with the Heapsters. He knows about, obviously, the betrayal there at Hilltop. He's already got all of this figured out. But he gives him that sense of hope. And then it comes to Dwight. First of all, the plan. It's a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. Surround Hilltop. Snipers, people close, get all the ammunition, just hold them in. That's all you have to do. It's a siege. We know they're running out of food. They can't last that long. So just surround them, keep by some ammo at all times. Anybody pokes their head out, boom, take care of it until it's all done. It's simple. It's straightforward. It's brilliant. I don't think it is. Oh, well, this is going to be trouble. Dwight's going to have to try and warn them. Going to try and warn Hilltop. And also, again, this whole time, we know, well, we find out afterwards, but Negan certainly knows that Dwight's the traitor. Because that was Laura that he picked up on the road at the end of last episode. So he knows everybody's whole story, which is why the scene just worked so well. It was powerful enough as it is. When we know everything that happened beforehand, when we get that whole reveal at the end and can review this scene in those eyes, it's absolutely brilliant. And then he sets up Dwight perfectly at the end, letting him know that you survive because you keep your eye on what you need to stay alive. Forces him to go onto Negan's side so that afterwards he can betray Simon and show Simon who he is. Did Negan suspect it? Of course he did. Did he know it? Probably. But he let Simon expose himself. And everything was all set up in that one scene. The tension in there, the back and forth, again, the charisma and the terror and the intimidation all happening within that scene. It was just marvelously done. And so then following that up, we have Dwight betraying Simon, which was, again, perfectly done. Dwight standing right on that cigarette, right kind of where Negan had told him to remember who he was. Perfectly done. Simon exposing himself. Well, I said he was at least trying to make it quick, trying to be respectful to Negan as he kills him, or tries to get someone else to kill him, really. And see that Simon really wants to get his own hands dirty, if at all possible. And then just the back and forth, the 3, 2, 1, I loved. And just all the guys around him dropped. And then even gives Simon that chance, that moment. If you want to be the man, you gotta beat the man. So still doesn't kill him, lets him stand up and at least have that one last fight to try and take leadership. Doesn't work, but it was interesting, that last little speech then as he is choking Simon out of why he is really upset. Because Negan is all about people power. He wants to save people. People can be useful to him. They're there to get him stuff. But now, because Simon pushed up against Hilltop, didn't succeed, and then ran away, weakness has been exposed. That's what Hilltop is going to see, and that's what's making Negan mad. They're always going to look for a way out. They're always going to look to see if they can turn it back. So now I have to kill them all. That's why Negan's mad. It's because now Simon has put him in this position. Now he can't try and turn them. He can't try and take out a few and intimidate the rest. He knows at this point everybody has to be taken out in order for the Saviors to continue forward in the same way that they were before. You can't have rebellion constantly fermenting amongst the people there. So that seems to be the real reason why that Negan was so upset there. It wasn't so much that Simon had betrayed him. It was that Simon forced Negan to no longer be the savior, but now he has to be the killer. And to do that, he's going to let Rick walk right into a trap, which is what he was using Dwight for. Which, again, perfect final reveal. And showing all of the charisma of Negan there on the way up. I love that. I'm always going to be there for you. I'll help you do this. Oh, you already have helped us. Opens the door. Hi, Laura. Waiting for that. And of course, at that moment, you could see it was all over with. The fact that Dwight used Gregory to get the message to Rick, I thought was kind of hilarious. I mean, honestly, I was surprised that Gregory didn't turn around and betray Dwight to try and stay alive in Negan's eyes. I have to give it up to Gregory. He at least committed to that particular role in getting the map over to Hilltop and everyone. However, it's a trap. You're just going to sucker them right in and mow them out. And again, beautifully done from Negan's position. Seeing where everybody was, setting up all of the pieces so they basically take themselves out. So is basically what happened. Negan didn't have to do it. Everybody exposed themselves given that opportunity. And I think that was the best part of Negan's plan right there. And finally, Rick and Carl's letter. Look, that was a sweet opening. It was nice hearing Chandler's voice again. It was nice kind of getting the reminders of the past. I remember all of these things. I remember the time before all of this happened. And I felt safe. And you made me feel safe. And now I'm realizing that growing up is really about making yourself and the people you love around you feel safe. Very much constantly hitting on these themes. I think it was a brilliant letter. I think it was wonderfully written. I think that it was a great way to pull back memories of the old days, show how much that Carl has grown and changed, and leave a last message for his father. Is that, look, I want you to do the same. I want to make this for you the way that you did for me. And there is only one way to do it, is we have to move forward. There has to be a tomorrow. We have to stop fighting and killing. There has to be another way out of this. Otherwise, people will always feel in danger. And that's really the difference. It's not about making peace. It's about that feeling of safety, that people can walk around and can do things and not have to feel that the saviors are going to be attacking them or somebody else is going to be coming, that there has to be some peace so that everybody can move forward and really make the better world. I love that. I thought it was beautifully done. Andrew Lincoln, certainly all that emotion, very subtle emotion, tears happening up in the face, really well done. Even the shots down to little Judith with Michonne. I think it was great because when they're talking about, I want you to hold Judith's hands and take her walks. She'll remember it like I did. And what do we see? We saw Michonne holding Judith's hand, kind of taking her for a little walk. You know, it was a nice way of showing that next generation, that next movement forward. However, I think it was all too little too late. I think this is what Rick should have read. He should have read that letter right afterwards. He should have taken a moment, should have done all this other crazy shit that he's been doing the past few episodes, and had read Carl's letter. Then it might have affected Rick. Then it might have allowed something to change. At this point, though, it's not. It's too little too late. It's not going to make any of that change. And that was perfectly illustrated in that last scene with Michonne reading Negan's letter, or Carl's letter to Negan, because again, sweet, thoughtful, showing a better way. And you can certainly see the emotions happening within Negan's face on how he was seeing everything. You like Carl. But at this point, too much has happened with Negan. He is not going to accept that. It's not about making peace. It's not about accepting surrender or even surrendering himself. It's not any of that. So much has happened over the past few days after Carl has died to reinforce this. If Rick had read the letter and thus not had that fight with Negan, or potentially in that encounter with Negan tried to have an actual conversation about tomorrow, then there might have been an opportunity. But after that attack, then after having to deal with the Heapsters and Jadis and all of that, running back into discovering being betrayed by Simon and by Dwight, Negan is not in the position to look for peace. He is in the position to reinforce his world. So, as touching as all that was, again, it's useless. It's too little, too late. This is something that Rick should have dumped in straight off. Should have taken that time like Michonne had told him, because now, whatever wish that Carl had going on right there, not very likely to happen. And one last little thing, Simon scene with Gregory at the very beginning. It was just, Gregory is a pathetic human being. I love that whole little bit, how Gregory's trying to explain himself and explain his use. And now that optics have decided that he can't be around anymore. Well, no, it's because of optics. You look like a failure. You've embarrassed me. I have to take you out and I have to let you go. And then Gregory trying to prove that he's a hard ass there, grabbing Simon and telling him, you don't know about politics. I've done these things and I built myself up and I've survived. You think you have the juice? I am the juice. And then whack, Simon just takes him right out. It's almost like he just picked him up and slammed him to the ground. It was awesome. And especially at that moment, Gregory just looks up and Simon's like, I was going to kill you. But can you make coffee? Yeah, I can make the best coffee in the world. Yeah, you got the juice, man. You got the juice. Just now you're making coffee to see if you can live. Of course, even that doesn't last that long because now you're back at Hilltop in a pen. So, really, man, Gregory just needs to go. Just be taken out, set free in the wilderness, never to be seen again, something. That man is, he's using up oxygen, is what he's doing. Alright, well I think that pretty much covers everything, so next week is our season finale. It's the end, and it seems to me like there's a lot of ground that they are going to have to cover if they in fact are wrapping up this whole storyline by the end of the season, by the end of next episode. So a lot of stuff happening, and then we will be following Morgan after that directly into Fear the Walking Dead. So there'll be 2 reviews next week. We'll be covering the finale and then another review covering the season 4 premiere of Fear the Walking Dead. And I am hopeful for this season, like Morgan going down there. They got new cast members, jump in time, new showrunner, so I've got my expectations set to bearable at least, and I would be really happy if the show exceeded them. Still going to plan to go through the whole season unless it turns and just nosedives into Sucktown, in which case I may have to drop it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I've got my fingers crossed. I don't want to do that. I want the show to do great, so hopefully it will. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me on this review. And as usual, if you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button. Leave your thoughts and comments down in the section below. Tell me about this episode. Did it all work for you? Are you liking the whole Aaron Oceanside thing? Was Eugene worthwhile, or is it kind of a waste of time? And like I said, is the show trying to do too much in its time period, not focusing well enough? Anyway, let me know. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. And if you're not a subscriber, hit this button. You'll catch this review. You'll catch Fear the Walking Dead. Plus, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Legion just started, which is awesome. And Westworld Season 2 starts up at the end of the month. So lots of things. We'll throw up a couple of videos you can check out right there. But that's going to be it for now. So, thanks again. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.